Welcome back to the channel. Today we're planning on doing the waterproofing for the foundation on the house, and we had a couple of different choices with that. I looked at both a spray-on type of waterproofing membrane and a actual peel and stick type membrane, which is what I went with, was the actual peel and stick. When I looked at the overall coverage and the costs, it made it more sense to go with this. This is pretty expensive. This is about $176 a roll for a 66-foot roll. And the spray-on adhesive was about $187 for a 5-gallon bucket. And I would have needed quite a bit of that to do the spray-on, plus the actual spray-on applicator, having to either rent that or buy that. So cost-wise, it made more sense to go with the adhesive type membrane. It's also something that the manufacturer of the ICFs recommended as far as waterproofing goes. So we'll get started putting that on this week. Well, putting this stuff on should be a little bit interesting, considering it's just by myself and they're pretty heavy rolls, but we'll see what we can get done with it. I think overall it should be a pretty straightforward process of getting it on. Have some nice weather today, as you can see in the t-shirt, but again, this is Montana, so give it 5 minutes, it'll probably snow here at some point today, but that's just how it goes. Anyway, we'll just get started with this and see what we can get done in a day, and then on to the next project, which will be putting on the sill plates around the top of the foundation. So let's get started. So I ran into a major problem, which I kind of had an idea was going to be the case, and that the polywall just is not sticking to the ICFs because there's too much sediment and dirt and other stuff on the outside of the ICFs in order to have it adhere to it completely. It's just peeling right back off. You know, my mistake in that is my gut told me to go with the roll-on or spray-on foundation coating, and I didn't do that, and so now I've got to rectify that and switch tactics here. But you know, at least I figured out before I tried to put this on the entire wall. I struggled with it for 2 days and just didn't pan out. So now we find on to a different solution. Expensive lesson, but that's what happens when you build by yourself. It certainly is easy to get overwhelmed with the amount of stuff that has to go on with this project. I mean, building a house is a massive undertaking, one that I've been aware of since the beginning, but it still doesn't take away from the fact that it gets overwhelming for me at points. I mean, as you can see by the board, there's a lot of tasks, and each one of these is not lightweight. It's not like I can pick and choose and go, oh, here's an easy task for today. And that's what happened yesterday with me, is that as I was trying to put on the house wrap, dealing with those heavy rolls and trying to, or the foundation wrap and trying to get those heavy rolls to do it, it just hit me and overwhelmed me how much I have left to do and I could not engage my brain to get stuff done. And that's really disconcerting for me. Certainly not complaining. It just is what it is. And I have to remind myself that, you know, you eat an elephant one bite at a time, not trying to take on the whole elephant. We're back at it today to try and get the foundation wrap on so that I can get to the earthwork part of the backfill. In order to do that, there's a sequence of steps here. I have to get the waterproofing membrane on, I have to backfill, and then I have to put on the sill plates. That way it is in a stepped fashion. It'd be easier to get the sill plates on once the ground is level rather than trying to, you know, jockey a 2x6 board across the top of those footers or the stem walls. Anyway, we're back at it today. We're gonna see what we can get done and see if we can get the waterproofing membrane on. Just gonna have to take it one bite at a time. Because I went with a new product, liquid rubber, I decided to do a little bit of pre-testing just to make sure it would work before I'd apply it to the entire foundation. Well, the good news is that the test seems to have worked out pretty well. There's no issues with the ICFs, and it is drying pretty quickly. That was my main thing, is making sure it didn't damage the stuff. There's a lot of products out there that have a lot of solvents in it that would just disintegrate the foam. And luckily I got a product that I did my research on correctly and seems to be working. So we will get started on waterproofing this foundation so we can get it backfilled. Well, so far that stuff is going on pretty well. You know, it's pretty messy because it's so thick, but it's rolling on. It's filling in a lot of the smaller seams. Some of the bigger stuff I'll go back through with some expanding foam just to be on the safe side. The bottoms of the foundation is already sealed with spray foam. So this So this membrane will protect the ICFs from weather damage, sun, and water, and allow stop the penetration through the walls as it's covered up below grade. Anyway, we'll continue on and see what else we can get done today. Well, I figured I'd take a moment from the foundation stuff to give an update on the trusses. I got good news on that. I went with a company called BMC, Builder's First Choice, out of Missoula. They were able to give me a quote and a date of delivery. So the trusses will be here on the property on the 17th of July, which is a far cry from late December, January from Western Building Center. The only downfall was it did cost a couple thousand more to have that done, because it was one of those things that just, 8.5% inflation will do that. But I'd rather know and have that stuff on the ground here and be ready when I am to have that roof put on, rather than wait and try and do that stuff during the winter when it's cold. I got to hand it out to BMC. They were pretty quick on getting me the quote and working with me on getting things in the pipeline for them to build the trusses. So with that, we got good luck on that, good news on that front, and we'll just count down the days until we get that and keep building. We also took a little bit of time. We had a friend come up, a good friend of ours from California, come up and spend some time with us, a few days, and she's a super fan of the channel. We had her out here to the property. Well, we're here today with one of our super fans. We have Kathleen with us all the way from California here at the property. Been a great trip so far. Thought we'd bring her out and let her get to see it in person. We might even put her to work, throw a hammer in her hands.
Yeah.
Tried to get her to do a little bit of work, but she wasn't having any of that, which is fine. I totally understand that. I wouldn't either. But we took some time and we went up to Glacier National Park to check that out. The park isn't fully open. It won't happen until after Memorial Day, when they open up the Sun Road. Going to the Sun Road, and we unfortunately didn't get that, but we did get to see quite a bit of the park, and it was a beautiful day out. So here's a little bit of footage of that to enjoy.
On your right, Glacier National Park. Arrived.
All right.
As a young girl, the fields were mine. We played hide and seek for hours, raised our shadows among the pines. So offshore, playful and free, without a care in the world. I was one rich little girl, daydreamer, kidnap me, take me back, all the way back to them days, running around in a gown and a crown, barefoot. No mistake ever kept me late. We spent summers catching fireflies and winters on our skates. One big smile across my face. We used to dance our way to church on Sundays. Mama set the pace. Daydreamer, kidnap me, take me back, all the way back to them days, running around in a gown and a crown, barefoot. barefoot.
The first coat of waterproofing is on the foundation, and I'm pretty happy with it. It took a while. I mean, that really kind of wore me out. But again, painting is not my strong suit, nor something I really enjoy doing. But I managed to get the first coat done. So now I'm gonna let that dry for 24 hours, let it bake on, and then I will come back out and do another coat or two and see what we look like once we're done. But we're getting closer to having the foundation waterproofed. And I will also go back through and on the larger cracks put in some spray foam.